guys, Eva here, and today we are talking about my DNFs. So did not finish the books that I put down and never end up finishing. The problem is that I don't DNF books, like it's super rare. Like I have here 10 books, actually it's 9 books and 1 manga, which are the DNFs of my last 10 years. I'm not even kidding. Like in 10 years I've probably DNF'd only these books. Maybe I did DNF a few books when I was a little bit younger. I don't remember. I feel so bad not finishing them. It's just something that I hate, not finishing a book, and something that I know it's just my paranoia, or I just get really upset with myself if I don't finish a book. So the fact that I actually put those down or because there was a really bad period or weird period in my life where I just couldn't stand them or couldn't stand to be bored to death, and it was like, fuck that. Or they were like too bad or just really too boring for me to keep going, or disappointing. But still, like I prefer usually to give one book 1 star instead of putting it down. I might change things around because I realize that there are too many books and not enough time, so I should just give up more often with books that I don't care about, instead of pushing myself through 300 pages 500 pages of a book I actually hate. So I am actually planning to DNF more. It can be a bit controversial. Some people don't like DNFing books, some people don't care. Personally, I think we should give the book a try, but at the same time we shouldn't waste our time if it's not for us. It's needless to get to the end of the book just to then throw shit at it or just hate it. If you know it's not for you, just give up. That's my point of view right now. But as I said, since a few months ago I thought I had to finish books, and just in rare cases I did put those books down, but a few times I did. So I'm here to talk about the books that I DNF'd and why I did. I will go chronologically from the most recent one to the oldest one that I can remember and that I could find on my DNFs tag on Goodreads, basically. My most recent one was actually in my February wrap-up 2019. It was Vampire Hunter D by Hideyuki Kikuchi and illustrated by Yoshitaka Amano. The premise of this book is that basically you are in a post-apocalyptic world where vampires are more than humans in numbers, and then basically you have this girl that has been bitten off by a vampire lord. Her alternatives are only to die because the people in her village will kill her off if they know that she has been bitten, or to go with the vampire and turn into a vampire. And she doesn't want to do neither, of course, and then she meets with Vampire Hunter D, and he is the only hope she has basically to defeat this vampire lord before he can complete the transformation. Now this is an old work, it's translated from Japanese, and I did give it a try, but I hated the writing. I know it could be the translation, so it could be just a translation thing. I know that it's a beloved series by many. I could have pushed through this book, but as I mentioned, since a few months ago I changed my point of view on DNFing books, and I reached 100 pages and I was like, I don't like the writing, I don't care where other this is going, I really just don't care. I don't even hated it, I just couldn't care less, and so I decided to put it down. The writing just put me off. I think it's just old. There was instances where it's old and you could tell it's old and really cold and detached writing, and it was all about how beautiful these characters were. It wasn't for me. Didn't want to do it, honestly. I could have done it, I could have finished this book, but I decided, you know what, I can pick up another book and enjoy it more, and there is no need for me to actually push it through just because I put it on my TBR. It's not enough of a good reason to push through. Then another recent one was The Price Guide to the Occult. This was an urban fantasy about these witches that lived in this small island, and basically I don't even remember what it was about. It was just boring, honestly. That's when I decided that I didn't have enough time in my life to like push through books. Even this book was not even long, I couldn't care less. It was so slow moving. You know when you don't hate a book but it doesn't give you anything, it's just dull? and that's it. So I skipped to the end, read the end. I was like, yeah, okay, don't care. And I will consider it DNF even if I skim read it. If you want it, but I definitely didn't read the majority of it. So yeah, this was just no. But I have heard many other people saying that they loved previous work with this author, but this was, I don't know. So yeah, I don't feel too guilty about that. One I DNF'd this summer was The Gatekeeper's Sons, urban fantasy with Greek mythology, if I'm not mistaken. It's about this girl that she's kind of in an accident, her parents died, and there are these two brothers, and one works for death ages, and the other one has to do with dreams. I don't know, I don't remember. I DNF'd it. There was a reason for that. I just didn't care. But basically, there was these two guys. They were described as hot guys, and they were deities, and they both fell for this girl. And this was just so bloody YA, tropey, cliche. I couldn't stand it. I was 300 pages on my Kindle. I hate reading on my Kindle, so it was like, I'm reading on my Kindle, which I hate. I hate the tropes. I hate the writing, which is like so cliche, so I hate it. The characters, I don't give a shit. And the plot is dull, and I just don't remember basically anything about this book. I couldn't care less. I decided that I am done with this kind of YA. Is just, I don't have anything against that. I used to love those kind of books back in the days. I guess nowadays they don't give me enough, and I need more than, oh yeah, these two old guys loving the same girl and she is dull and boring as shit. So she's just beautiful and everything else, and I don't care anymore. Give me a good protagonist, and then I can handle love triangles. I don't mind the love triangles. The love triangles are not the problems. The problems are how the characters are done. These protagonists which are dull and they don't have anything going on for them apart from being beautiful and being kind or whatever. I guess I like anti-heroes and great characters way more. I don't have anything against beautiful guys or girls or anything like that, but you know, there is so much more to people than the way they look. And these kind of stories, they're just not enough for me anymore, and I'm not gonna push myself through hundreds of pages of this same heard and heard again shit. So yeah. Then I DNF'd a manga which was Inuboku something. Now this is again urban fantasy. It's about this girl that moves into a block of flats, and this apartment comes with bodyguards. So basically only some kind of people can go into these apartments, and when you go you are assigned this bodyguard. And this girl goes, and you don't know why she goes there, so you'll find out reading the manga. And she's assigned this bodyguard who, from the moment he sees her, he's like, my life is yours, I'll do anything you want, I am nothing, like I live to serve you. And she's like, yeah, I really don't need you, sorry, I don't want you around. And he's like, then kill me, because you know, my life without you has no sense. And I was like, you met her like 2 freaking seconds ago, like literally. So yeah, I'm not into those kind of guys. Like he was the worst. Like the art was not bad, I hated him so freaking much. Like I get being like the bodyguard, I get, you know, you work for a woman and so you can like a woman, it's no problem, but you cannot be like, I'm your slave, kill me if you don't want me, like you are my everything, you're so beautiful, I'm worth nothing without you. Not after 2 seconds of meeting her. And I'm not gonna read a whole manga with you just, you know, complimenting her and how beautiful she is and how you live for her. I tried to skim read these and it was like that, and she kept saying no, I don't want you, and he would follow her anyway. And she was like, yeah, okay, no, I'm not gonna push myself through pages of this guy drooling after this girl without any form of self-respect. So yeah, bye bye. Then of DNF, one book that I think there is no English translation was Corina la Regina dei Mari, and this was a pirate story. The problem with this book that I did after 2 years ago was that basically we were promised in the synopsis a strong female character, and instead it was just a romance, and it was just her drooling after men and things, and I didn't care. I want to say that I like romance when, when I go into a book and it's about romance, or if we have a fantasy with a good romance element in it, I love it. I think it completes the story. But it cannot be only romance, especially if it's targeted as a fantasy. Like, I need action, otherwise I would just pick up a contemporary story, you know what I mean? So if you don't deliver that and it's just... Come on, people, like, let's give these characters some self-respect. Like, you can like and love another person, and you can make them love another character without having, like, to basically annihilate themselves and who they are just, in order for them to be with this other person. I don't like when a character, like, stops being anything if not someone in love with somebody else. The vampire was Gleason, I don't remember her full name, but I remember that I loved another series by her, which was a Victorian vampire hunter series. I really liked. This series was still about vampires, but cliche, boring, same shit I've been talking about all video. It was all about, these characters meeting and just lasting after each other for no apparent reason, and I couldn't do it. I didn't care, hated the writing. I loved the other series by her, and I was like, you didn't really write this, right? Like, did I read something else? Like, what? When I DNF'd, this was 3 years ago, I guess, or 2 years ago, The Little Red Chairs. Now, I will spoil a little bit this book, so if you want to read it, don't. I haven't read more than 70 pages of this book, so I'm not going to spoil anything aside from those pages. But I don't remember the real plot of this, apart that is from the point of view of this woman that has a relationship with a priest, and she gets pregnant. And there is a scene in this book, which is the reason why I DNF'd it. I'll be graphic, so be aware of that. If you want to skip until this cover is gone. But basically, she is taken by these three men, and she's raped with this object in order for her to miscarriage. So she miscarriages, and it is like graphic, like the book gets into details, and I was like, no, like, that's where I draw the line. Raping someone to make them miscarriage is like, that's the most freaking disturbing thing I have ever read, and I've read plenty of shit, but this is no. I never read past that bit, but I still remember it has been like 3 years, and I don't know, maybe this is even a good book. It was just, for me, there was a no. It was just, that's kind of too much. Maybe if she didn't describe the scene in details, I could have handled it. I was just shocked and disgusted, and I was like, why would you describe a scene like that just to make my stomach like twist, to make me sick? That's the most fucked up, sickest thing I've ever read, and then done with it. And so I put this book down, returned it to the library. I will never read this book. So yeah. Then my next DNF was The Gospel of Loki, and this was a retelling of the Loki adventures, basically, the Nordic god. And I remember it was just boring. I just didn't care. It was from the library. I put it down, returned it. I was just, yeah, okay. I love Nordic sagas. I love Nordic gods. I've read the sagas, which are dull and long and like a series of names, but I could do it. This book, it was just a retelling, I guess. So I was just like, I don't care. I would have read that if it was like an historic non-fiction recounting your Loki adventures, but it was actually a fiction retelling. The most shocking one, if you know me, was Wind Heaven by George R. R. Martin. I know, like, George R. R. Martin is my god. The Song of Ice and Fire sagas is one of my favorite sagas ever. It's Game of Thrones is probably the only book with Harry Potter I've ever reread. So that's how much I love George R. R. Martin. Said that, I just couldn't do it. It was boring as shit, this one. It was about these people that lived in this island and they had wings and they traveled basically, but only some people could have wings, and the people with the wings were tasked with traveling to send messages or something like that. And it was not even that long, but it was so freaking boring. It was just pages of boringness and dullness, and I gave up. There is no other excuse for me apart from this was freaking boring, okay? And even if it was George R. R. Martin, I couldn't do it. Gave it back to the library, and that was it. The last one, the first one I remember actually hating and putting down was Delirium. This was about this dystopian society where basically you cannot fall in love and you have like assigned marriages, and it was about this girl that falls in love with this guy. Something like that. I could be totally wrong because I hated this book. Put it down. It was the writing. This book was kind of popular, but I remember the writing made me sick. I don't have a good expression because it was not disgusting or anything. I just remember that it was so not for me that I couldn't stomach it. I felt sick reading this book. And I was like, plus I was also really sick in those periods. And so that book, I associate the writing and that book with me being sick to my stomach. And so I put it down, and it was like never again, and I never picked up anything by this author, and I don't think I will. Her writing is so boring. I'm sorry if you like her. It's just my opinion. These are just my reasons for DNFing these books, but yeah, it was dragging, and no. So yeah, that's it. Those are all the books that I DNF. Let me know in the comments down below your most recent DNF, or if you finished some of the books in this video that I mentioned, what you thought about them. You know, it was just me DNFing them because they weren't for me. If you love them, good for you. Thank you for watching. If you're new, I would love you to subscribe, so hit the button down below. I'll see you next time. Have a good day, night, depending on where you are. See you soon. Ciao!